rejecting that. And you saw that rejection in a national election with Scott Brown being elected up in Massachusetts. I mean, what is traditionally a Democratic district, they elected a Republican who said, I'm opposed to that national health care program because I don't believe in governmental financed and run health care. So that's going on. But now stop and think the consequences. The normal to pass a vote when the House is at its full complement, meaning all 450 members, okay, is you need a majority. 435 members. I misspoke there. The majority would be 218 votes. Now there are several vacancies right now. One you may remember, a longtime member, John Murtha, a Democrat, died. Okay, so that creates a vacancy. So when that happens, the majority drops down by numbers. With Eric Massa's resignation, the majority number needed to pass a bill will drop to 216. Okay, that's significant when you get to a real close vote. And he was a no vote the last time around. Whether he would have been pressured or not is inconsequential at this point. But if you elect somebody from this district, well, that number then jumps back up to 217. So when you take out a no vote and then drop the majority by one vote by his absence, you effectively gain 2 votes in that attempt to pass that bill. So I believe that the Democrat majority will be trying to push the governor of this state not to call for a special election immediately, but to delay it.
Not.
Okay, I know. I hope not too. But what I'm saying is, you have to think about the strategic issue. Now, why did this all meltdown happen so quickly? And the whole issue, I believe, is to eliminate a potential embarrassment to the Democrat majority. Which is, so you're starting to think about internal Washington strategy and what they're doing. And I don't like what I'm thinking, because I was there for 4 years. I watched it happen, and I know how they manipulate things. And so I think that they really pushed Eric to resign for this purpose. And it's a different perspective, but I really think that that's true. And they weren't concerned about the people like I am here having their voice in Washington, and that may be denied. Now, who knows how it's going to play out, but in my way of thinking, if you have a special election, it could happen very fast. The law in New York calls for a governor, when he calls for a special election, to call for the election not sooner than 30 days, no longer than 45. So if the vacancy occurs on Monday, it's declared to be vacant on Tuesday, you could have an election coming up for the 29th Congressional District as early as, say, the 1st of April. The 1st of May. So you're talking about a spring election. If not, it could be any time between then all the way down to, the normal election process. So, it's very interesting, and a lot depends on our voice being heard by what this governor, if he's still sitting, and who knows what's going to happen there, because that's a little kind of a tenuous situation too.
Yeah, on Governor Patterson, you served with him, and now Speaker Sheldon Silver is asking for his resignation as well. What are your thoughts on this? It's been an interesting week in New York this past week. What are your thoughts on the Patterson situation?
I think Patterson ought to resign. I agree with the Speaker of the House. It has nothing politically. David Patterson has brought a great deal of disgrace to the office of governor. It really has. We'd like to look up to the people who are leading us and that they bring refreshing voices. We may not agree with them all the time, but we ought to at least respect them. And I think that he's lost all respect for his dealings, here or there. And the most recent one, why would you lie to a grand jury about a gift of tickets to the World Series game?
Yeah.
He has lots of access to money. His campaign account, which I'm sure is in hundreds of thousands of dollars, could pay for that and say, this is a political event. It's important for the governor to be seen there. And they very easily could pay for that. So for him to lie about a gift is just insane. And it's just conduct that is really not acceptable. And I agree with those people who are calling for his resignation. I think he should go.
You think that's along the same lines of that Democratic pressure to, if you're not aligned with the party and with I would say more leftist ideology, that they're gonna just start squeezing these guys out. Patterson has certainly not been a Democratic favorite since he started, and I think this now everything has kind of come to a climax here, and they're going to be able to push him out. without any Republican help, apparently.
Well, I see. I never considered David Patterson's service as governor really to be long-term in nature.
Mm-hmm.
He got in because Elliot Spitzer stepped down,
right.
and certainly they were political cronies from New York City. And then when and I never thought that he had the charisma or the ability to raise dollars that would be necessary to offset a campaign by somebody who is as visible and whose family name is as well known as Andrew Cuomo. I firmly believe that Andrew Cuomo was going to be the next gubernatorial candidate for the Democrats, and it will be. And of course, Patterson's conduct and activity, whether it's this or whether it's the domestic abuse incident or whether it happens to be, his own personal shenanigans going on, I just think that really has kind of limited his ability to even be a serious candidate for the rest of the term. And so I did not anticipate initially when I said he would be just a one-term or part of a one-term governor that he would melt down as he has. But it just furthers my basic belief that, in fact, his service as governor was very limited, and he would never go through a general election.
We've been talking with former Congressman Randy Kuhl this morning on WLA. Randy, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Amy, my pleasure. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to come on. And as I said to you earlier, I have not made the decision. I am weighing my options, but I'm weighing my options very, very seriously. Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. You've been listening to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA. Coming up next, Brian O'Neill with Connections.
Thank you, Amy. And this morning I'll be speaking with